Public key encryption uses a combination of a private key and a public key. The private key is known only to your computer, while the public key is given by your computer to any computer that wants to communicate with it. To decode an encrypted message, a computer must use the public key provided by the originating computer and its own private key. And then there are digital certificates. To implement public key encryption on a large scale, such as a secure web server might need, requires a different approach. This is where digital certificates come in. A digital certificate is essentially a bit of information that says the web server is trusted by an independent source known as a certificate authority. The certificate authority acts as a middleman that both computers trust. It confirms that each computer is in fact who they say they are, and then provides the public keys of each computer to the other. The digital signature standard is based on a type of public key encryption that uses the digital signature algorithm. The digital signature standard is the format for digital signals that's been endorsed by the U.S. government.
For more on this and thousands of other topics, visit HowStuffWorks.com. And don't forget to check out the Brainstuff blog on the HowStuffWorks.com homepage. You can also follow Brainstuff on Facebook or Twitter at BrainstuffHSW. Welcome to Brainstuff from HowStuffWorks.com, where smart happens.
Hi, I'm Marshall Brain with today's question. What makes us yawn? The next time you're in a meeting, try this little experiment. Take a big yawn, cover your mouth out of courtesy, and watch and see how many other people in the room yawn with you. There's a good chance that you'll set off a chain reaction of yawns. In fact, before you finish here, it's likely that you will yawn at least once. Just hearing about yawning will sometimes make people yawn, just as seeing or hearing someone else yawn makes us yawn. What's behind this mysterious epidemic of yawning? First, let's look at what a yawn is. Yawning is an involuntary action that causes us to open our mouths wide and breathe in deeply. We know it's involuntary because we do it even before we're born. Research shows that 11-week-old fetuses yawn. There are many parts of the body that are in action when is that you can cash flow them and make money every month from them. With the money you make, you can buy more assets, and pretty soon you, first, have a lot more experience collecting assets, so you get better at it, and second, you have enough assets to be a lot more financially secure. Let's say that you save up $100,000 in assets. If you were to then lose your job, you would feel a lot better about it. You would be happier than you might otherwise. So there are three options to consider. The normal path of buying stuff, the New York Times path of spending less on stuff and buying experiences and trips instead, and then finally the asset buying path. Consider all three the next time you have spare cash.
For more on this and thousands of other topics, visit HowStuffWorks.com. And don't forget to check out the Brainstuff blog on the HowStuffWorks.com homepage. You can
Mid-ocean. The idea of a vac train system that crosses the United States is exciting, but the global picture is even more interesting. With a vac train system circling the planet, it's easy to imagine travel from the US to China taking only 2 hours. New York to London might take only an hour or so. The system could carry both passengers and cargo, so shipping times and costs could be reduced drastically. A vac train system circling the globe might sound far-fetched today in the same way that transcontinental jets would have sounded far-fetched in 1900. Keep in mind that the Wright brothers others didn't fly until 1903. But there is already research underway in China to bring an early version of a vac train to market. This first system would only have a partial vacuum, but would allow trains to travel up to 600 miles per hour. China already has hundreds of miles of high-speed rail traveling at 200 miles an hour, and a vac train would lower travel time significantly. With China working on the problem, we can expect the United States and Europe to follow, and vac train systems could be a reality in just 10 to 20 years.
For more on this and thousands of other topics, visit HowStuffWorks.com. And don't forget to check out the Brainstuff blog on the HowStuffWorks.com homepage. You can also follow Brainstuff on Facebook or Twitter at BrainstuffHSW. Brainstuff from HowStuffWorks.com, where smart happens.
Hi, I'm Marshall Brain with today's question. How do polymer crystals work and why do they absorb so much water? If you have an infant or a toddler in diapers, you may occasionally notice these clear crystals sticking to his butt when you take the diaper off. These are called polymer crystals. Polymer crystals are one of those special things that are almost magical if you can watch them work. Polymer crystals get very similar to a gelatin dessert when you put water on them. One of their major uses is in disposable diapers, where they're referred to as super absorbent polymers. This is the thing that allows a diaper to absorb lots and lots of urine without ever leaking. The polymers allow for thinner and lighter disposable diapers because they absorb so much water. Add water to the white crystal flakes and they absorb many, many times their size as the polymer gel forms. 1 pound of crystals holds about 50 gallons of water. The gel that forms swells by absorbing 30 grams of water for each gram. How do they backlight LCD screens? Obviously, these screens are brightly backlit. A lot of people use their cell phones or their laptops as flashlights, so they're using the backlights to produce usable light. How do they make these backlights so bright and so consistent? Currently, there are 2 technologies for backlighting the screens. Today, most computer liquid crystal display or LCD panels are lit with built-in fluorescent tubes that are placed either above, beside, or sometimes directly behind the LCD panel. A white diffusion panel behind the LCD redirects and scatters the light evenly, and that ensures a uniform display. This is known as the backlight. A fluorescent light is most often a long, straight glass tube that produces white light. Inside the glass tube, there's a low-pressure mercury vapor. When ionized, mercury vapor emits ultraviolet light. Human eyes aren't sensitive to ultraviolet light, although the human skin is. That's how we get sunburns. The inside of the fluorescent tube is coated with a phosphor that's going to turn that ultraviolet light into something human beings can see. Phosphor is a substance that can accept energy in one form and emit the energy in the form of visible light. For example, energy from high-speed electrons in a TV tube are absorbed by the phosphorus